Solow, where we at? We outside. How about that? What's good and welcome to it. My name is Solow and welcome to the SolowSays YouTube channel. Welcome back to my channel. How are you? I hope that you're good. I hope that you're feeling good wherever you are at. You already know how this goes. If you like my vibe, please do subscribe and like and comment and all that good stuff. I do have a podcast, so I'll be leaving the link for it down below. But yes sir, yes ma'am, thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me. You can see again, we outside. It's like, child, let me get this to my chest. You're probably gonna be like, Solow, this lighting, child. I've been fighting with the lighting for like an hour now, and I know that I was supposed to record either sunrise or sunset, but like I have to do other things. So this is the time that I have free, so I have to shoot the video now, and I wanted us to be outside instead of just being cooped up all the time. So yes, just for a bit of adventure. And it's so like full circle, because I used to come to these places last year when I was like starting my healing, well, not starting, but where I was very intentional about a lot of things last year. I used to come to these places. So now that I'm like back again, but I'm here, I just, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Like it's totally like different. You never know what could happen in a year. But yes, so if the lighting is off and I'm like giving you heavy shadow vibes, please bear with me. Yes, okay. So if you can already see by today's title, it's a lesson in letting go. So today's YouTube video is all about letting go. And this one, let me tell you, I'm preaching to the choir, which is myself, because you know what, sometimes we are ever evolving. So the stuff that I talk about is the stuff that I'm dealing with sometimes in my own life. So it's not perfect, like my information or my knowledge at the present time might not be perfect, but it's worth it. Yeah, so I just decided I still want to share nonetheless. So that's what I'm coming to do. I started the letting go series for myself. So all of the stuff, because I got my Bible and my notebook on deck, but all of the stuff that I speak about, I started for myself. So when I come here and I'm like, the series on letting, it was just for myself, the notes and the stuff that I was doing. So I started like looking into ways to let go like last year, because like, with everything that was going on in the world, we needed to shed a lot of old mentalities and old processes and come into like a new way of seeing things, doing things, and being, of course. So yeah, that's when I started. This one was in March of 2020. So yeah, I just saw it and I was like, you know what, this is a good video topic, so let me go and share the good news. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah, I think maybe at the end of the video I'll show you the view. It's so beautiful here. Like, I saw birds and there's leaves just falling all around me. The birds are just flying. The vibes are the nicest, and those who know that like Earth is ascending. So but let me not get into that. But yeah, like everything is just getting more and more beautiful. But yeah, I really hope this lighting is not too disturbing, but let's not get distracted. Okay, so I wanted to first start off by saying that for certain seasons a need is met. So when you think of the things in your life that you are struggling to let go at this time, you could possibly, and I could possibly tell you 10,000 things of why this thing in my life is so crucial and why it has been so important in my life, you understand, or in your life. So we need to understand that for certain seasons, things do make sense. And if I like touch myself and I'm squeamish of the bugs, please also, I'm in nature. So yeah, it has its own rules. So yeah, so certain things have certain seasons to everything, and we need to also acknowledge that, you know what, they did serve their season. It did serve its time. It did fulfill my life for this season, but now it's coming to a point where I have to release it. And how you know something in your life is no longer supposed to be there is because it kind of gets you to that question: should this thing be here? Shouldn't it be here? Should I be doing this? Shouldn't I be doing this? And I know that for a lot of people, it's been walking away from things that we've been doing, and for me, I'm still in the process of a lot of other things. But like, for example, that mindset that you had about yourself, for a certain season, I needed to be out there, she fought the streets. Like, there was a certain season in my life where that was like good. No, I mean, we can debate about like, is being wild and stuff for the street, like, is it good for you? But it was good for me because I got the certain lessons that I needed in that season. But then there comes a time, where those things, you need to be free from those things. You need to be free from those places, and they no longer serve you. For example, there's the passage in Exodus 4 that talks about when Pharaoh was releasing the Egyptians into the wilderness. And at first he was like, oh, with it. Like, he was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna let them go. They went, you understand, Moses took them, and then they like bounced and everything. And then like in the wilderness, when they were talking to Moses, because now they were struggling because they let go of what they've always known. I'm trying to duck this like it's no one's business. But they were letting go of what they've always known, like maybe a place to stay, although it was like the worst now, but maybe it was a place to stay and a roof over their head and everything like that, and food and whatnot. And now in the wilderness, they were met with like other challenges. You understand? There was other things that was coming up against him. So they went to Moses and they were like, yo, Moses, like, why did you even take us out of prison in the first place if you were going to bring us out here to die? So like in that moment, the Israelites, they were right in that sense of like where they come from did provide for them for a certain season, but now like it served its time. It no longer could bring any fruits because it was actually bringing them more destruction. It was breaking them down instead of growing them up. So in our own lives, we need to realize that sometimes we have to release certain things for God to bring new things into our life. And I wrote here, growing in God equals releasing something to receive. So like when you decide you want to go on a healing journey, when you decide you want to change your life, like many things are going to come knocking at your door. If you did watch my Signs of Spiritual Warfare, like once you start to see that, okay, I think it's a spiritual warfare one, maybe spiritual warfare. But when you decide that you want to change your life, you understand, there are going to be things that are going to try to come up against you, that are going to be like, yo, like, you sure you're not coming out tonight? You sure you're not wanting to do this with us? You sure you don't want to go here? Even yourself could test you and be like, so you're not doing that? We're not doing that no more? You understand? But you need to know that in releasing certain things, ideologies, mindsets, behaviors, people, places, things that no longer serve you, you are bound to receive something else. And certain changes are not embraced, they must be forced. So you have to be broken down to be built up again. Most of the things, let me tell you, let me be hot as humble open, and I'm feeling hot as I'm burning, but we in too deep. Yeah, but certain, like, let me tell you, you understand that what I was about to say is like, let me be hot, that's humble, open, and transparent. That like for me, I struggle in letting things go because like I consider myself pretty loyal, like, but don't be like, oh, that's Solow, she loyal, because there's some loyals that are like stubborn, and then there are other loyalties that are like, yeah, we need that in the world or whatever. But like for me, it was kind of the stubbornness of situations, that I didn't want to leave because they were so toxic. But like for me, it was like, but they served me, in the season, they did this for me. So like a quick example, like I keep saying, one of my ex from last year, like, yeah, man, we were becoming very dysfunctional, and a lot was going on in his life that was hindering my life. But because I was loyal to like, okay, I have to stick it out with him, I have to ride with him, I wasn't leaving yet. And I was like the Israelites, like, okay, yeah, sure, this ain't the best, but like, what is the wilderness gonna give me? So then I kind of stayed loyal to that, and then stuff had to happen that didn't give me a choice. Like I didn't have a choice, like I had to leave. So sometimes like change is inevitable, but then once you have changed, you have to let go of the mindset. So even leaving certain situations, you can be like, okay, I'm letting these people go, I'm letting the situation go, but like, is your mind letting that situation go? So yeah, once you decide to work with God, you understand, choose to work with God, not against God. Through God's hands all things take place. So in those situations, we can ask ourselves, like, when things are leaving, when people are leaving our lives, when situations are changing, where everything is being broken down, you being broken down, you know, maybe God is taking you to that point of broke, busted, and disgusted. Like, you need to ask yourself, like, okay, am I going to resist the change right now? Should I try to move again? A girl is burning up. A girl is heating up. Whew. I think that's a bit better. Just until the sun. You know, the time is like 3 o'clock. So the sun sets here at 6. So, I mean, well, does the sun set everywhere at 6 in the world? I don't know. But like, the sun sets at 6. So it's peaking and it's moving. But anyways, this is a bit better, I guess. Yeah, so you have to make up in your mind, like, am I going to choose the road of resistance, or am I going to choose the road of surrender? Now, I don't say this casually, because me, most of the time, it's resistance. You understand? It's resistance. And then, you know, you just see that things no longer work. So even with friendships, you know, there are some friendships where you have received the message, you have received the communication, you already know that, okay, you've been supposed to be out of that relationship, like, you know, 5 months ago. But because you were persistent and you were resistant to change, you understand, something happens that maybe they betray you, or they backstab you, or something happens where you just learn a truth that completely shatters your world in a way that could have been avoided if you only listened to the communication about leaving situations and leaving places and people behind. You understand? So also, when you have when it's time for you to let go of certain situations, it's not easy. Like, it's not like what was she singing for? Let it go, let it go. Like, it's not gonna be a nice little song that people are gonna come around you and sing. Like, it's gonna be brutal. And if we want to take it biblical as well, like, the enemy, bad energy, the devil, is gonna come at you. Like, he's gonna send his like strongest people. And even in that story with Pharaoh, when he released the Israelites, you understand, after some time he changed his mind. He was like, hold up. What did this Moses just tell? Like, did this man just call me? Nah, get my people back. Get my people back. I need my workers back. You understand? And then Pharaoh was like, send out the best men, like the best horsemen, the best this, the best this, the best. So the devil's gonna send up everything to you. Like, the minute you're like, okay, Solow, you know what? I'm ready to let go of relationships. You understand? You understand? You understand? Looking for the perfect one, looking for the perfect mate, looking for my soulmate, looking for the love of my life. You understand? That's when the devil is gonna send you every like toxic relationship. You understand? And they're gonna be dressed up as they're gonna be dressed up as sheep, but they're actually wolves. You understand? So that's when the enemy is going to send you that ideal partner. But there are going to be so many things underneath that relationship that you will only see with hindsight, that, oh my goodness, I was about to follow my purpose, follow my calling, you know, do me, you know, get myself right. And then I got into this relationship, and all of a sudden, like, it's like I was taken back, you know, because that's the enemy. He's not going to just let you go. So when it comes to like addictions or behavior patterns in your life, he'll give you a reason to not let go of a situation. So another one for me is like forgiveness, and forgiveness of the people in the past, like my past. You understand? I've spoken about it on my podcast. I think I spoke about it a little bit here on YouTube, but like, I was speaking about forgiving people in the past. And forgiveness, one thing that I have also learned now through psychology, it's a continuous thing. You will continuously be forgiving people, but it's also sometimes where you choose to dwell in unforgiveness. So for instance, if someone hurts you and in the moment you're like, okay, I'm gonna let it go, I forgive you, but then the enemy brings something back into your memory, like maybe 6 months later, and then you're there again, like, nah, they don't deserve my forgiveness. Nah, they don't deserve my forgiveness. You understand? That's like, it's it's stopping your progress, you understand, and it's stopping the process of letting go, because forgiveness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, but it's like continuously choosing to let it go, let the past go, and let the energy flow out of your life, you understand. So if a lot is coming up against you, there is a lot of God within you, you understand. So that was also another point that I wanted to make, that like sometimes when you're choosing to change your life, and usually it's changing for the better, when you have many oppositions or many forces coming up against you, you know, maybe you in spiritual warfare, and go check my previous videos, but yeah, maybe you in some spiritual warfare, then like, you know, like you need to also see that as like, wow, like maybe there's a reason why the enemy or forces don't want me to step into my power, to step into my power, or to do good, or to change the way that I've been living and my mindset. Because once you change your mind, you change your life. So if you're a person who holds on to grudges and you never let anything go, there are so many opportunities and blessings that are going to pass you by because of your stubbornness. And a bit about me, yeah, I am quite stubborn, and in hindsight I'm like, oh my god, I was like so stubborn. But like in the processes now, thankfully there are some people who have brought it to my awareness that, okay, you're being stubborn right now, so that I can quickly catch it, so that I can change my mind, I can repent, you understand. But if I was a person who was like, I'm stubborn, and stubborn is all I'll be, and that's just me, so if you don't like me, to the left, everything you own, that's in the box, you understand, like that's also another way of like not making progress and being hindered in so many things in your life, you understand. And that once you choose to let go of those patterns, let go of those mindsets, it opens you up to receive more blessings, more abundance, more opportunities, more relationships. Because sometimes our toxic ways and the toxic things that we keep in our life hinders growth from coming into our life. You need to make space for the new, you understand? Because if your life and your cupboard, for example, is cluttered with all your ex's clothes or your old clothes, or you know, things that you, because I know a lot of people who have a lot of clothes, but they never wear those clothes. And used to be one of them that like I wouldn't wear them, but like if you would take them out and be like, Solo, why don't you donate this? I'd be like, no, because child, I got this when I was like 16 and I spilt on it this one time. I went on a date with this one person, and then like, you know, it's been so special to me, but you don't wear it. So like if your cupboard is full of old clothes, where's there gonna be space for new clothes? You understand? So your life is just like that. If you are hindering old memories, old people, toxic ways and mindsets, where is there going to be room for more people, better mindsets, better ways? You understand? And so for me now, when I can come and chat about these things casually, it's because like later on I learned the lessons. I learned these lessons in life. I learned the lesson of not letting go. I learned the lesson of resistance and non-surrender. Like I'm still learning to surrender, because like I'm quite young, and in this world like there are so many like distractions, and there are so many things that like want our attention, that I have to constantly be like aware of, and like constantly try to stop and cut out. But like I've learned quite a bit of lessons of not letting people go, letting places go, letting situations go, and it's been to my detriment, and it's been to the detriment of others. Like there was this other relationship child, my relationship life, relationshipically, it's been the worst. But I mean, grateful for everyone, grateful for all the lessons, because I mean, it's priceless. You know, YouTube videos couldn't have taught me. But there's this other relationship that I really like loved this person, and sometimes, you know, love doesn't make, you know, a relationship work enough, because if you love a person and a person doesn't love you, or the relationship doesn't gel me, you know, there's relationships where yes, there's love, but like I'm this way, you this way, and it's like we're meeting at love, but like the way we behave and the way that the things and our expectations, they don't align, so it becomes very toxic and turbulent. And then, you know, no one wants to, you know, cut the cord, because it's like, I love you though, but like no one's changing, nothing's growing, nothing is progressing. And then, you know, you just sit and you're like, maybe next year, but next year never comes, you know. And it becomes a burden, and you waste like a lot of time, You know, I don't want to say waste time, because everything has its purpose and there's a season and a reason for everything. But like, some things can be avoided, you know, some things you can say, okay, the devil kept me stuck, you know, and stagnant there. But like, sometimes you're like, I did that. You know, I got the communication. Like, I saw that this was no longer conducive, but like, I chose to stay there. So that we also need to understand that once we let go of certain situations, that there's more to come. You know, I remember crying, you know, for friends, for places, for things when I was young, you know, thinking that it was the end of the world. Like, I remember in high school, there was this thing of like going to the movies and, you know, just going, wasting your time. Maybe people were drinking or whatnot. And it used to make me feel some type of way that I wouldn't go, you know. I felt like it was the end of the world, you know. And to that younger me, like, it probably was deep. But now, as I'm older, I realize that if only I put my attention on, like, okay, sometime, maybe not now, but sometime in the future, I'll get it. Or sometime in the future, I'll get that opportunity, that relationship, those friendships, that opportunity, that career, that family, whatever it is that you are now having to let go of, that you feel like it's the end and the end of everything. It's not. Like, it's really not. And I've learned like a lot about transformation, like a lot of transformation, because in transformation you are dying. There's a piece of you dying, a piece of your life dying and closing. Cycles are closing, whether they are best friends, you know, bestest of best friends, you know, relationships, occupations and situations, that in the moment, yes, grieve those things and let them, you know, allow yourself to feel those pains. But it's creating a narrative in your mind that says, this was all my life had to offer, you know. And you 24. Like, not to laugh, but like, because I get it, it's deep when you're in the moment. Like, right now you could be in that moment, so I don't want to be insensitive, but like, yo, dude, there are people who are 65 still talking about, I'm gonna start living, you know. So imagine. And then also, I want us to appreciate everything, you know. Appreciate everything that comes and leaves your life. I think these things are often said, but we don't actually grasp what it means. That appreciation and an attitude of gratitude is very important in life, because like, once you start to count your blessings, you will see how like fruitful life was. So for me, there are some friendships that like I had to let go of, and I went through the whole season grieving, whatever, memories, whatever, reminiscing. And then now I can look back and be like, wow, I'm so thankful for those friendships. Like, okay, yes, they were a bit toxic. Yes, they did this, they did that. But like, man, those are some good memories, you know. And it teaches you to appreciate even what you have right now. Because once you think about the things, not in a depressed manner, like, oh, I was so happy, you know, sex, you know, but just like, wow, like, I thought those moments were never gonna end, you know, and they did, and I'm so grateful for them. Now, in this moment, who do I have around me that I can appreciate in a way that, like, when they're gone, I won't have to be like, shucks, you know, that was great. You understand? I feel like Angus Buchan. Do you guys know Angus Buchan? He was like a farmer, face like a potato. He was like a farmer, and he'd be outside just preaching. Yes, but I wanna change locations again. But I mean, I think I'll just stick it out because the videos are almost done anyway. Okay, so another thing is that God is resetting the baseline of what is a blessing. So even in our current times and with everything that's going on in the world, like when something is leaving, an old way of living, an old way of being is leaving, we mourn it, we grieve it, we see that, wow, like we're no longer going to be able to do that. But then a new system is formed and a new way of doing life is created, and then in those moments there are new blessings that arise. So quick example, you might not relate to, I mean, I think we've all seen the meme of it in some way or form, but the one of like the mosque, like leaving your house and then you're like, oh shucks, my mosque. You understand? Like, there's been so many funny moments of just like leaving our mosques behind and then just being like, oh, I have to go get it again. And then when you see someone like in that moment of like, oh shucks, you know, it makes you laugh. So that's like something silly and simple, but like it's truly in those type of situations that like okay, there's this new way of being, there's this new way of seeing, of doing things, but like even in this, there are blessings. You understand? So you need to know that let everything that has breath. Oh, yeah. So you need to know that, okay, letting everything go, letting old ways of being and letting old situations and forgiving, healing, choosing to see things differently. Okay, yes, it's hard, it's difficult, but like it needs to happen because life is in the ebb and flow. There are ups, there are downs, there are people coming, there are people leaving, there's life, there's death. You understand? And inevitably things do come to an end, but it's like what you choose to do with that ending that really matters. If you choose to grieve it for 60 years, you are grieving something that has already ended, but you are continuously perpetuating a story in your mind, you know and I think that's what we all do as humans, which we have to make room for, and understand that, okay, it's a way of life, but every single day we have a choice. Do you choose sorrow and defeat, or do you choose appreciation and gratitude and victory? So this is another point that I made, the control freak. It's like I'm very, yeah, I do struggle with, my name is Solow and I'm a control addict. Like, I just struggle a little bit with like control stuff. But it's because in my mind, I'm like, okay, we could do this, we could do this. It's more efficient. But like, I understand that some people, they don't relate to that. And they're like, Solow, I prefer to do it my way, you understand? And this is what works for me. So like I do sometimes struggle with like control and stuff like that, but like that is when God can work with you the most. If you are a person who's so used to doing things your own way and not surrendering, then like God working in your life is going to be a little more dramatic. You understand? Because God is then going to be teaching you a very big lesson in letting go. And that is kind of the biggest thing you have to also acknowledge, that you cannot control everything, that there is a power, a force greater than you that is actually in control. And once you learn to let go of things, you are able to lift more. I wrote here, you can lift a lot more if you loosen your grip. So if you're so focused on controlling situations, people, places, and things and outcomes, you understand, an illusion of control, you won't be able to start new things. You won't be able to grow and expand and have more opportunities, because you're so focused on, this has to be perfect, I have to do this right, this is, I have to hold on, to this memory. I can't forgive, because if I forgive, I'm letting go of my power. And now in that process of not forgiving, like the world is passing you by, and then they're like, hi, Solow, do you want to come? No, I'm unforgiving, hi, Solow, don't you want to come and talk about? No, I'm unforgiving, like if you put it in a picture, you'll see how like problematic it is. You're just there clutching on and life is going on. But I understand it takes some time to let things go, especially when people have hurt you, or places and things have added value. In a certain season they were serving you, but inevitably, like the leaves that fall from this tree, the seasons must change. And now we are entering spring this side, and if the trees were like, no, I was enjoying winter, no, like it can't, like, yeah, your leaves are gonna fall off, like whether you want it or not, tree. But it's like whether you be like, wow, like, they were pretty green in winter, but I can't wait to see what happens in spring. And the way things were are not always normal. So sometimes, like, we stay in toxic situations, and I spoke about this in the Signs of Spiritual Warfare as well. Like, there are certain patterns and certain things that happen in our families that we sometimes see as normal. Psychology calls it enmeshment. It's that thing where everyone in the family is involved with everyone's business. You understand? Where it's that thing of like, your aunt knows what's going on with you. You haven't spoken to her in years, but like your mom will call her up and tell her your business. Like, I understand families, they do communication and whatnot, but there's that toxic enmeshment. Like, you do something wrong to your mom, and then everyone's like, it's just enmeshment. And we look at those situations and those patterns, and we see them as normal, when in actual fact they're pretty codependent and sometimes narcissistic, and those are like flying monkeys, you understand? So it's kind of like certain things have been seen as normal in your family for some time, but when you start doing the work and start coming into who you are and who God says you are, these certain behaviors no longer appeal to you. And then you have to look back and be like, wow, like I was comfortable in involving everyone. Sorry, I tried, but I have to do it. I have to move again. Yeah, we were comfortable in involving everyone in our business, at a certain season, and it worked for us, like as that little girl or that young adult when you were codependent on your family and on your friends, and everyone, in your friend group knew about your relationship, and everyone had a say on how you lived, yeah, that was pretty, helpful at the time. But now when you're coming into a new season, when God is doing a new thing in the world and needs people who can think for themselves, who can be self-dependent, independent, like you can no longer work off those negative ways of being. The sounds are so beautiful. Okay, so yeah, and another thing is when you are uncertain about certain things, that's just a space for you to unlearn. That there are a lot of things that you just, you start to question, like, why am I doing this? Why am I accepting this behavior? Why am I allowing situations like this in my life? And then that's when you go to the drawing board, like whether we like it or not, many of us do question why certain things happen to us. We do question why we allow certain things or places or people or things to affect us. And in that moment, that is the perfect time for you to unlearn. There are things that are positive, that are happening, but those negative ones, you need to really question it and be like, is this something that I want to have a part of my life? And if not, then you have to start the process of releasing it and letting it go, because it no longer produces positive fruits within your own life. So also finding a balance in between the change. That, let me tell you, change is not easy and letting go is not easy. Like I said just now, in one of the relationships that I had, like I really loved the person, and like I could see that I was supposed to be getting out, you understand, because nothing was changing. And it took me like a year. It took me a year to like actually say, no, man, I don't want this anymore. So I was still in between the process of unlearning certain behaviors and certain patterns in my own life and in those around me. And I was in the process of slowly shifting from that mindset. But I still gave myself grace that, okay, I know this is toxic, but I'm still going to go visit. I know this is toxic, but I'm still going to pick up the phone. Like, I know this is toxic, but I'm still going to answer the text, So, yes, while we changing, letting go is not... Some people can go like cold turkey, like, bah, I'm over it. But, like, some things need time, and you need to be able to balance, that whole process of like, okay, this thing had a lot of weight in my life. And now that I want to release it, let me do it gradually, because like the more you trick yourself sometimes, especially if you know yourself, like, and you know that you loyal to situations, it's not going to be easy for you to just be like deuces, you understand? But you need to do it gradually and know that if you trip up, you understand, pick yourself back up again and do it again, you understand? So yeah, we don't need to be pessimistic, you understand? In this process of letting go, it doesn't have to be like toxic and negative, like, all my haters, I'm cutting my haters out, I gotta drop everyone, I gotta cut this person out, I gotta cut this person out, cut this out. But like, let's rather be optimistic about it and being like, in setting you free, I'm setting myself free, because in this relationship, I'm not the best version of myself. So if I'm not the best version of myself, I'm not giving you the best version of me, so I'm not doing you justice, you understand? Or this situation or this place or this thing, you understand? That sometimes, yes, we are like, okay, I want to let go of the situation because they're so toxic. But sometimes we the toxic ones, sometimes we the negative ones. Sometimes we the people that actually have to like check where we are. So sometimes it's not always about putting yourself in the victim mentality, like everyone is against me, I gotta let them go, but also it's about taking that pause and being like, where am I being burdensome to other people? Where can I let other people go? You understand? Like, to free them. Because sometimes you could be the toxic one in those relationships. You could be the one keeping people back. But because you are not ready to let them go, you are causing cycles to continue, and that's not helpful. You understand? Now it's that time. You think, thought I wasn't gonna do it, thought wrong. But can we open up our Bibles to Romans 12, and I'll be reading from verse 1 to 2. It says, "Therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, I urge you to present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may discern what is good, pleasing, and perfect will of God." So, okay, let it go. It's not always the best. You understand? Like, letting go is not always ideal, but like, we need to know that we are a living sacrifice. And I know some people might not relate to that, like, biblical text, but let's take it on an even higher thing. Every single day we are becoming new people. There are new things happening. Every single day is unpredictable. There's a new way of life. So in those type of situations, like, the old has to die, and new has to come into your life. Like I said with the trees, whether you like it or not, the trees are going to weather, and seasons are going to change, whether you like it or not. So as verse 2 says, that do not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. If you are going to let go of the old, do not conform, but be transformed. So conforming is the way the world works from the outside in. So when you conform, you do things that people told you to do. You act in a way that society is going. You are sheep in the flock. You understand? But when you transform, you do what God source divine. Like, that's when God source and divine from the inside out. You understand? Works within you, that the change happens first within, and then you are able to take it outwardly. So for me, letting go of my old personality and the things that I used to do, and the people pleasing and the conforming to the ways of this world, that was the outside things that I was letting go. But then when I started working on myself internally, then I started to allow God, source, and spirit to go from within and take the word out. And then I'm here, chill, chatting with you. That's how it goes. So be guided by the Holy Spirit, even though you don't want to say goodbye. So, in certain situations, we want closure. We want that deep conversation with some people or some places. Either you have been let go of, or you want to let people go, and you want to, have that one-on-one, like, this is why I'm letting you go, and that's closure. But sometimes, before you can get closure, you've got to get out. Some situations, they're not going to give you closure. And some situations, you don't have to give closure. Like, if it's friendships or relationships, and you know that these people have persistently not been the best in your life, like, sometimes you just got to pack your bags and bounce, like, without a warning. And, you can't afford to give them closure, and you have to just accept that not everyone is going to sit down at the red table, child, and talk about, like, this and that and break it down. Like, this is why I'm leaving you, or this is why I left you. You understand? Like, sometimes you just gotta, peace, I'm out. You understand? But you need to know that in the spaces of uncertainty, in the spaces of not knowing where God is taking you, that is when, like, you receive the biggest rewards. And I was telling someone today as well, like, when you are stepping outside of doing the norm, and you're stepping outside of conforming to the ways of this world, like, it's scary, it's very scary. And if you ask people who are very successful, their stories of becoming entrepreneurs and successful people did not start with, I danced my way, into the unknown, and I boogied off that cliff. No, it's usually like, I was petrified. I was terrified. I didn't know, you understand? But I continued to praise God. Like, I didn't know how, I didn't know when. When I was letting go of, like, the ex that I was, like, really, like, we were really close, I didn't know where I was gonna go. Like, I didn't know what the next step was gonna be, but I just knew that, let me fall. You understand? And even in my falling, I was so scared, and I was so, like apprehensive for the future. But now when I'm through it, I'm like, wow, like, God, source, spirit, my guides were really with me, because I got my guides on me when I pull up his party. But yeah, like, they were really with me. So now I'm like, wow, like, the weapon may be formed, but it won't prosper. And I can say that, like, confidently, because, like, I know that in a tight space, I trusted you know, something higher than myself. So even when you're letting go of these things that you feel like you need in your life, like you need to trust that, okay, whatever is being taken away, better is coming in, or I'm being taught something much deeper in this situation. So yeah, you need to release the need to know. Big thing for me, always want to know. I'm 6 steps ahead, you know, like I'm always trying to be 6 steps ahead, and I'm still working on that. Like I'm still trying to release that thing of like wanting to know what the future is going to hold, and constantly working and striving for like a future, you know. But just sometimes you just got to be like, God's got it, you know, let go and let God, you know. Sometimes it's truly like that, you know. It's truly like that. And the Bible says that if he watches over the lilies and the sparrows, how much more will your Father not take care of you? And it's even that song Jara by Elevation Church that if he dresses the lilies with, I don't get copied on, beauty and splendor, how much more will he clothe you? How much more will he clothe you? So if he can watch over the lilies and provide for the sparrows, like, trust that God's got you. You understand? And he's going to guide you. Because I can tell you that that's what he did for me. And getting freedom, it's not easy. You know, walking out and stepping, you know, outside of the flock and doing things, going against the grain, it's not easy. Like I said, no one dances their way to the cliff. But like when you get that freedom and when you get to the other side, you'll see that like, wow, letting go was best for me, and that it truly produced a fruit inside of me that I wouldn't have anticipated. And I got the lessons, you understand, in all those situations. So again, letting go, it's crucial, it's needed. And when things have served their season, we need to be mature enough, strong enough, and courageous enough to know when to walk away and to call it quits. You understand? But we don't have to do it in negative, toxic ways. We don't have to go on Twitter and be like cutting out all the fake and phony. Nah, child. Sometimes you just gotta and disappear. Like, you know, some people don't always need closure. You know, they're gonna, you know, some people might pretend like, I don't know why they left. Like, where did they go? Like, it just came out of the blue. Knowing very well that they took you through the toxic turby for 2 years. Knowing very well that they were fake and phony in that entire relationship. Knowing very well that like when you were suffering, when you were broke, bastard, and disgusted, they never offered you a hand. You know, those type of situations, those places that also cause you pain, and, you know, your work environment or stuff like that. Like when you choose to walk away and let it go, not everyone is going to be happy. Not everyone is going to clap for you. That's not even the point, you understand? But not everyone can get the closure, you understand? So give it to God and trust that like spirit, force, divine has got you, because it's got me, and my God's an army. So when I pull up, it's a party, and I'm gonna guide you. So don't worry, because Solow's got you. And that's how life goes. Like the minute you let it go and you release and you surrender day by day, it gets a bit easier. You know, it doesn't happen over a day or, you know, even a week or a month, sometimes a year, but like daily you are taking a step in the right direction. So yeah, that's what Solow has to say for this YouTube video as we are outside. You understand? I hope you enjoyed my vibe. If you did like my vibe, please do subscribe. The lighting is, I mean, child, it's not the best. It's not the best. But let me try to show you the vibes. Let me show you the vibes. So we outside in the safari. Nah, I'm kidding. There's still a bit of worldly energy around me. But it's just so beautiful. See that vibe, see that vibes. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am. But that's all Solow has to say for this YouTube video. I hope that you have a lovely day wherever you are, and that you remember that you are a blessing to yourself and to those around you.